Hello and welcome to this next Luco's retro game review video. And for this one, a Microprose game from 1993, and it is Impossible Mission 2025, specifically the Special Edition. And no, I don't know what the difference between this and the other one is either. So, let's just check to see that I've got all the everything's right, I think. Yeah, okay, right, everything's normal. So, this is the third of the Impossible Mission games, following on from, believe it or not, Impossible Mission, and then Impossible Mission 2. So at least they did something slightly original in that they called this one something other than Impossible Mission 3. In fact, what they should have done was call it something other than Impossible Mission anything, because this is a pretty horrible game, to put it mildly. At the moment it's just giving us a brief look at one of the rooms. As you could see there, the rooms are now rather more than one screen in size. They are all fair old size actually, and that's just one of the many reasons where this game goes horribly wrong. Well, you've already got a pretty good idea that I am not a fan. It really doesn't make a difference who I fucking play as. Well, we'll play as Ram, who is who's some sort of android bloke. At 6'7" tall, he's almost as tall as Joel Garner. If only he could bowl like him. But at 1,960 pounds, or 890.9 kilos, he does weigh a little bit more. So anyway, now we wait for the game to load. There is quite a lot of disk accessing, not just at the start of the game, but throughout it. So, if you're not familiar with Impossible Mission and Impossible Mission 2, I have done reviews of the Commodore 64 versions of both of those, and later on, possibly in the next video actually, I'll do a review of the Amiga version of Impossible Mission 2. But I'm pretty sure everybody knows that at least, you know, the first Impossible Mission game, so you've got a general idea of what the game's like. Well, forget all of what you know from the first two, because this doesn't fucking follow it at all. So level 1 is the car park, subsection 1. Here we are at the bottom. And the first thing you may notice is that the animation on the character while running is not as good as the Commodore 64 original. And that's just the beginning. There are a lot of areas where this is nowhere near as good as the Commodore 64 original. Now, you'll also notice that the lift platforms are unbearably slow. I can never remember why the screen goes red sometimes. I think it's because a security camera has seen you, and then the robots come looking for you. But, I mean, the general, gameplay is still much the same. You're searching through all the various pieces laying around in the hope of finding the various bits of equipment or various puzzle pieces. You'll also see that every time you lose a life you have to wait an age for it to scroll back to the bottom corner so that you can then carry on and then take the painfully slow lifts back to where you were in order to try and continue from where you had lost your life. The robots also look very different and behave very differently, and in both cases the changes are for the worst compared to the Commodore 64 version. Sound effect wise, the sounds are quite different, especially when you lose a life. It does have the you know, not only from when you fall, but when you die in any way. And once again, that sound is not as good as the Commodore 64 version. And bearing in mind that this is an Amiga version, and okay, there is an AGA version for the 1200, so of course that used 2 megabyte. But this was programmed to use at the very least 512k. I don't know if this is making use of any additional memory. My emulator is set up so that I'm using a Amiga with 1 meg. I've got the expanded memory in it. Now, instead of finding pieces of punch card like you are in the first game, or various numbers for the code in the second game, in this you're finding the various pieces to make up a circuit, and there are 9 pieces to find. Well, actually, yeah, you're supposed to find 9 pieces, but only 8 of them are actually usable. So that's what I'm trying to do first of all. So I've already forgotten how many pieces I've found. I've found a few. There are a number of other codes, just like the first one and the second one, that do various other things. But once you lose a life, okay, I thought for a moment once you lost a life, you lost them all. But it would appear not. Okay, let's try and clear this section out. So those are the computer terminals. I'll come to them in a moment once I've searched what I think is. Well, I think I've searched everything that can be searched within the game, or within this level anyway. Now the trouble when you're going on those platforms is that you cannot move. But because the platforms are so slow moving, if a robot comes along and hits you while you're on the platform, you die. But you look at the animation, especially when he jumps, it's nowhere near as good as the Commodore 64 original. Or Impossible Mission 2, because that just used exactly the same sprite. And yeah, this just continues throughout the whole game. Nothing about Impossible Mission 2025 is an improvement or even as good as the original game, or even Impossible Mission 2. So, okay, we'll stick to comparisons with Impossible Mission 2. So if anything compares favourably to that, then we'll go on to the first one. But yeah, the robots don't look anywhere near as good. The animation on any of the characters isn't as good. The sound effects are atrocious, and they are absolutely nowhere near as good. Having music playing in the background does not improve the atmosphere one bit. In fact, it is detrimental to the atmosphere. At the moment all I'm interested in is finding puzzle pieces. If and when I come to it, I'll show you what the other things mean. This thing that's currently selected, if you press space you use it, and it's a gun which allows you to destroy robots. Fuck's sake. But every time you lose a life you have to sit through this bloody slow scrolling while it takes you back to the fucking start. Now let's get on here, because this takes us to an area that we couldn't otherwise access. There are a couple of items down here which can be searched. Oh, you fucking... So now we've got to go right the way back to the fucking start again. And yeah, this really does get on your fucking tits. It sounds like I've got a countdown going on. Alright, well that didn't happen last time I played it. I'll continue because I want to try and show you at least a little bit more of the game. I'll try and show you, you know, something of what you are meant to be doing. I've no idea why that timer ran out. So it didn't do that last time I played it, and I don't remember it happening before. And that said, I didn't have this game back in the day because I was a bit sceptical about it when I first saw it. Plus, when this came out in '93, my interest in gaming was starting to wane a bit, and yeah, although I was a huge fan of Impossible Mission, and although it wasn't as good, I was still a fan of Impossible Mission 2. Yeah, I decided not to bother with this, and I absolutely made the right choice. Okay, so there's a piece of the circuit we need. So we got one of the 9. Now this thing allows you to search quicker. Yeah, so there we go, so there's 2. So we've got 2 pieces of puzzle. That's the gun that allows you to destroy robots. There you go, so I've destroyed one. Wasn't the one I was aiming at, but I'll take it. So you press space to activate those additional things. But they only last, you know, a certain amount of time, and they're fucking dead already. But when you consider that the game, you know, operates on a timer, you know, like the first 2, you have a set time in which to complete the mission. So bearing that in mind, the amount of time wasted sitting here waiting for it to scroll back to your starting place is a fucking joke. So that again, let's just search quicker. This is a robot that... oh, okay. I'm amazed I got past that. So there's another piece of the circuit. So that's what, 3 I've got? Only another 6 to get. But everything is done in slow motion. Considering he's running, you'd think it would be quicker, but no. Well, there's another piece of puzzle. Trying to search it. Just got there in time. I can't remember what that one does. Another piece of the puzzle. Well, another piece of circuit anyway, so let's search the van. I thought I was going to croak it there. I can't remember what the magnet does either. I mean, it has all the stuff like the snoozes and lift initializers that were in the first 2, so I have a feeling that's what's... well, I may have one of the... you know... you can also see that he does jump a fair old distance when he does jump. So yeah, timing the jumps and that, and positioning yourself. Oh, for fuck's sake! I did not press down. pretty sure that's a bomb to destroy. That's a jetpack which allows you to move faster. And I think it also allows you to fly up to other platforms. But, well, we'll see anyway. Trying to search this. I think it's meant to be a motorbike, but well, it looks like something out of fucking Akira. Mind you, this is supposed to be set in the future, you know. But well, let's go to a computer terminal so I can at least show you what that does. Right, so you go to the computer terminal and you have to wait for yet more disk access. And eventually it comes up with this. Now unless you go to one of these 5 specific terminals plus the exit lift, none of these terminals do anything other than show you where to go. So this top one, the circuit configuration terminal, you select that, wait for it to load, and then when it does load you then wait for it to painfully slowly show you where it is. There it is. And then wait for it to painfully scroll back to you. There we go. And then painfully wait for it to load again. And you have to do this for every single one. And if you want to, the whole sequencer is the equivalent of the snooze. So if you want to use a snooze, you have to go to the right terminal. Same with if you want to check your inventory, the locator, whatever that is, and what looks like a spam terminal, as well as the exit lift. So I'll just hit return because the circuit one is the only one you really need to actually complete the level. So that's the only one I'm really interested in. I will persevere a bit longer. The sound effects on these steps, again on the Commodore 64 version, much better in both games. In this, it's just shit. I mean, you know, cut to the chase. In every way, this is shit compared to the original game, which came out on a computer that had 1/10 of the available RAM to, you know, code the game with, and had a much slower processor which was only 8-bit. So you get a 16-bit Impossible Mission, you think, fucking hell, this could be brilliant. And what they gave us was, well, absolutely not brilliant. It's fucking crap, is what it is. The only similarities it has with Impossible Mission, you know, the genuine proper game, is that you're jumping over robots and searching things in the room, and that's it. Everything else is just fucking bollocks. Fucking hell, so now I go right back to the fucking start again. Oh, thank fuck for that. It also allowed us to stay at the terminal. I'm not quite sure what I used that let me do that, but I'm fucking glad I did. Except I now think I'm going the wrong way. Oh, I can't fucking remember. I think this game's doing my fucking brain in. Right, so, okay, I thought that robot was going to run past and kill me because, of course, you can't move while you're on air. So I just want to try and get to the computer terminal that allows me to, you know, put the circuit together. You listen to the music here, it's fucking awful. It's got that fucking shitty like piano playing style that I cannot stand. I think this is the terminal where you would put the puzzle together. So I need 2 more. But as you can see, when you've got the 2, you then have to move this around like, you know, those old number square puzzle things. And I fucking can't stand doing them. So you then have this unbearably boring part where you're, you know, trying to put the circuit together, and then once you've done that, you can then take the main lift and piss off out of there. And that's pretty much Impossible Mission 2025. And I've had enough of this game, alright? So let's go on to what do I think of it, how do I rate it? Well, you may have gathered by now, I can't stand it. It's incredibly slow, ridiculously slow. Everything about it seems to, you know, be really sluggish and that, especially when you lose a life or if you're searching for the right terminal, because you have to sit there and wait for it to scroll at a ridiculously slow rate. So I can't stand that. Graphically it is inferior to the original game in every way. Same with the sound effects. The music is pointless, it doesn't add anything. In fact, it takes away the atmosphere from, you know, compared to the original game. And the gameplay is just fucking awful. You know, it just doesn't have anything going for it at all. So it is unquestionably the worst of the Impossible Mission games, and you know, it just, how they could release this with the Impossible Mission name, I don't know, because it has almost nothing in common with the 2 previous games, and it's so far removed from it that it should have been given a different title. It might, emphasis on might, have got away with it then. However, I suspect it's more a case of them taking the other extreme. They realised that the game was a bit crap, so they thought, right, how are we going to make it sell? Alright, we'll link it to an existing game, call it a sequel that will, you know, guarantee decent sales. Alright, we'll call it the next Impossible Mission game. That way it will sell pretty well. And I think it did sell pretty well purely because of that. But I don't think anybody who bought it was at all happy with it. I certainly wasn't. And I didn't even buy it. So I borrowed it off a friend of mine who had it. But yeah, I gave it back to him the next day. And I just said, yeah, you can keep that, mate. So my score is, well, as an Impossible Mission game, it gets 1 out of 10. As a game, any other game, it still gets 1 out of 10 actually. It's absolute rubbish. Yeah, don't bother with it. You know, there are better games on the Spectrum, let alone, you know, a fucking Commodore 64 or Amiga. So there you go, Impossible Mission 2025. Absolute bollocks from start to finish. So that brings this video to an end, and we'll see you at the next video.